In a major about-face, the DOJ and FBI say Jeffrey Epstein did not have a client list, did not blackmail powerful men, and was not murdered.
My heart goes out to these survivors who I think probably are very upset about today's news.
I'm Georgia Howe. John is off this week, but Cabot Phillips is filling in. It's Tuesday, July 8th, and this is Morning Wire.
I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee.
And a scathing CIA review reveals how Obama's top intel chiefs pushed the Russia collusion narrative against Trump, even after the Steele dossier was discredited.
They spied on my campaign, launched one hoax and disinformation operation after another.
Thanks for waking up with Morning Wire. Stay tuned. We have the news you need to know.
In today's fast-changing digital world, proving your company is trustworthy isn't just important for growth, it's essential. That's exactly why Vanta exists, to make building and maintaining that trust seamless for businesses everywhere. Whether you're a startup just getting started with your first SOC 2, HIPAA, or ISO 27001 certification, or you're an enterprise dealing with the complexity of vendor risk management, Vanta's trust management platform, user industry-leading AI, and automation helps companies of all sizes get compliant fast and actually stay that way. The platform doesn't just handle compliance either. It can help you knock out those tedious security questionnaires up to 5 times faster, which means you're closing bigger deals sooner. And the impact is real. According to a recent IDC study, Vanta customers are saving over $500,000 annually while becoming 3 times more productive. If you're ready to see how Vanta can transform your compliance process and help you build trust automatically, visit vanta.com/morningwire to sign up for a free demo today. That's vanta.com/morningwire today.
The Justice Department this week released previously unseen jailhouse footage from the day Jeffrey Epstein died.
Here with a closer look is Daily Wire Deputy Managing Editor Tim Rice. So Tim, this announcement is a very long time coming. What have we learned from this video?
Yeah, good morning, guys. The Justice Department released nearly 11 hours of footage from the common area of the special housing unit in the facility where Epstein was held. In a memo, the FBI says that anyone entering or attempting to enter Epstein's cell could have been captured by this footage. And since footage shows no one entering Epstein's cell during that window, the Bureau concluded that Epstein committed suicide. This is consistent with what FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino have previously said.
So case closed, no controversy, correct?
Well, not exactly. As you know, there's been controversy surrounding Epstein's death from the beginning, and a lot of people don't believe that he killed himself. They believe he was murdered as part of a cover-up to protect one or more of the powerful people implicated in his crimes. Now, the FBI says there's no evidence that Epstein kept a client list, nor is there any credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. But just a few months ago, Attorney General Pam Bondi told Fox News that she had Epstein's client list on her desk.
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
In a briefing Monday, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defended the administration's handling of the Epstein case.
The Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the president's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. That's transparency.
Now, the White House says they're being transparent, but a lot of people are saying this is just more of the same.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke to Lisa Bryant, who's the director and executive producer of the Netflix documentaries Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich, and Ghislaine Maxwell, Filthy Rich. She's covered the Epstein case for more than 6 years, and she doesn't believe the memo is the end of the story.
I mean, come on. The DOJ even admits Epstein's cell door is not in the camera's field of view in this video. So exactly how does it prove he committed suicide? I think anybody following this case would really need to see Epstein actually committing suicide in a videotape to believe it actually was a suicide.
According to Bryant, there are still questions about Epstein's official autopsy.
The medical examiner, Dr. Biden that we're talking about, he was hired by Mark Epstein, Epstein's brother, to be there. And the evidence that he saw, he says, points to homicide by strangulation rather than suicide by hanging. What he's saying is Epstein had numerous visible injuries, including this very key broken hyoid bone, which is kind of around your Adam's apple in his neck, something which he said that he's never seen in 50 years as a result of a suicide by hanging.
Bryant also believes a lot of incriminating evidence has yet to be released.
I think there are still these graphic compromat blackmail videotapes and photos that Epstein made of powerful men and many others having sex with his victims that he used basically to leverage and build his empire and make millions. Firsthand, almost every survivor have said they've seen cameras, they know they were, being recorded, or they'd heard they were recorded. That threat was always there. Many of the victims saw cameras in numerous homes. So I think their statement and the report today was they found no evidence that he blackmailed prominent individuals. I call BS on that.
One other thing that Brian noted, Ghislaine Maxwell is facing 20 years in prison, and she knows where all the bodies are buried. So perhaps this latest announcement will encourage her to come out and reveal some more information in exchange for some kind of a deal.
Tim, thanks for reporting.
You bet.
You know that nagging feeling about the doctor's appointment you've been putting off forever? Maybe it's that dentist cleaning you're now 6 months overdue for. Whatever it is, today might actually be the day to stop procrastinating. With ZocDoc, you can find and book the right doctor entirely online, and honestly, you'll probably have an appointment booked before the end of this ad. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. They've got over 100,000 doctors across every specialty you can think of: mental health, dental, primary care, urgent care, you name it. The best part is you can filter for exactly what matters. Doctors who take your insurance are nearby and have great ratings from actual patients. Most appointments happen within 24 to 72 hours, but you can often get same-day slots when you need them. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/wire to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/wire, ZocDoc.com/wire today.
As the war between Israel and Hamas continues, Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the White House Monday for a high-stakes sit-down with Donald Trump. Daily Wire senior editor Cabot Phillips is here with the latest on the meeting and more. So Cabot, a packed day in Washington. Let's start with Netanyahu's visit.
Yeah, a lot of folks ease into their first workday post-vacation. President Trump evidently not getting the memo. It was a very busy day in Washington as he hosted Prime Minister Netanyahu for his third White House visit in 6 months. No other foreign leader has been invited more than once, so it gives you an idea of just how important this relationship is to the president. First, the two took a victory lap of sorts, celebrating their successful strike on Iran's nuclear facilities, which they say set the regime back years in their pursuit of a nuclear weapon.
We have scheduled Iran talks, and they want to talk. They took a big drubbing, I think, when we hit the three sites. Really, I would say the three sites, not just the one. The one was a big one, and it was deep in granite, and it was obliterated. It turned out the Atomic Energy Commission said it is obliterated.
For his part, President Trump has warned Iran that he would be willing to strike again if they restarted their efforts to enrich uranium.
I hope we're not going to have to do that. I can't imagine wanting to do that. I can't imagine them wanting to do it. They want to meet. They want to work something out.
Can you say
no, they're very different now than they were 2 weeks ago.
Is there a date yet for the Iran talks, or a city? Do you know when and where the next round of Iran talks will be?
Well, I can tell you, I'd rather not say, but you'll be reading about it tomorrow or seeing it tomorrow.
And in one really stunning moment, Prime Minister Netanyahu commended Trump for his role in fostering peace in the Middle East and announced that he had officially nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize.
The president has already realized great opportunities. He forged the Abraham Accords. He's forging peace as we speak in one country, in one region after the other. So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well-deserved, and you should get it.
So what would a potential deal in Gaza look like?
Well, the two sides have been negotiating in Qatar over the last few days, and by all accounts are making progress. At the moment, the terms include a 60-day ceasefire during which Israel would allow for increased levels of humanitarian aid into Gaza, while Hamas, for their part, would release the 50 or so remaining hostages in their possession. That is, if they are still alive. But the main holdup is that Hamas says that they will only free the remaining hostages if Israel agrees to fully withdraw from Gaza and end their military operation entirely. Netanyahu has made clear from the very start that he will not end until the terror group has been totally dismantled or surrenders and hands over all of their weapons, which does not seem likely. From what we've been told, Trump, who famously loves deal-making, has been using his action in Iran as leverage with Netanyahu, essentially saying, I helped end your war with Iran. Now it's time for you to end things with Hamas.
Cabot, thanks for reporting.
Absolutely.
The CIA has finished a probe into the Obama administration's conclusion that Russia interfered to help Donald Trump in the 2016 presidential election. The spy agency's review found that the Russia investigation was markedly unconventional and potentially corrupt from the start.
Here to break down the CIA's findings is Daily Wire reporter Tim Pierce. Hey, Tim. So first, back us up a bit and tell us why the CIA is now looking into this decade-old intelligence assessment in the first place.
Yeah, 9 years later, and Russiagate continues to be a major story. President Donald Trump ordered this review on his first day in office. It was part of a wider push to correct past misconduct by the federal government related to the weaponization of law enforcement and the weaponization of the intelligence community. CIA Director John Ratcliffe then began to look into the origins of the Russiagate scandal, and he found that it looked corrupt from the start.
So let's get into the report. What exactly did these new findings show?
Right. Last week, the CIA declassified a memo that gives an overview of what the agency found. Investigators determined that in the initial stages of the probe into Russian interference in 2016, the process to finish the assessment had, quote, multiple procedural anomalies. Those anomalies included, quote, a highly compressed production timeline, stringent compartmentation, and excessive involvement of agency heads. And all of that, according to the memo, hurt the integrity of the CIA. The Steele dossier provides one of the best concrete examples of this. So the Steele dossier was essentially a report on unsubstantiated rumors about Donald Trump and Russia and the 2016 election. There's no basis that any of it was true, and there never really was. But then CIA Director John Brennan pushed for the Steele dossier to be included in the 2016 report on Russia's interference in the 2016 election. He even overrode concerns voiced by two top CIA officials that raised significant questions about the dossier's reliability. According to Ratcliffe's report, Brennan, quote, appeared more swayed by the dossier's general conformity with existing theories than by legitimate tradecraft concerns. And according to this memo, Brennan was backed up in his decision by then FBI Director James Comey and then Director of National Intelligence James Clapper. And then there is former President Barack Obama, who ordered those three to investigate Russia's role in the election. Ratcliffe says that Obama pushed forward this assessment to get it finished 6 weeks before his presidency was over. And Brennan, Comey, and Clapper cut a lot of corners to do it. For example, according to the memo, they excluded 13 of the then 17 intelligence agencies from reviewing their work.
Really stunning findings there. So what sort of reaction have we seen to this new information?
Well, it's had a mixed reaction from Republicans who you'd think would be more united on this. But Arkansas Congressman Rick Crawford, who chairs the House Intelligence Committee, said that this report actually whitewashes what really happened in some ways. Here's Crawford on Fox News on Sunday.
The thing that I have a problem with is that the analysis here was a lot like, the fox guarding the hen house. Essentially, an analyst did an analysis on the analysis. And what they left out were some of the key players. So yes, they said, okay, well, look, we knew, Brennan bad, Clapper bad, Comey bad. That's easy. But what they forgot to mention is that most of the people that were involved in that, outside of those three headliners, they're now getting promoted. They are part of the senior executive service. And they have essentially, held up this report and said, nothing to see here. We knew who the three bad guys are, so let's just move on. And I'm not willing to move on because, as you know, this runs a heck of a lot deeper.
To sum that up, Crawford's main concern is that many of the lesser-known players who pushed the Russiagate hoax forward are still inside U.S. intelligence agencies and could cause problems.
So 10 years later, new details continue to come out on what we now know to be Russia collusion hoax. Tim, thanks for reporting.
Good to be on.
Thanks for waking up with us. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We'll be back later this evening with more news you need to know.
If you run a small business, you know there's nothing small about it. Even the smallest decisions can feel massive. That's where Shopify comes in. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, from household names to brands that are just getting started. You can tackle all the important tasks all in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics and more. Even marketing becomes a breeze thanks to their built-in tools for running social media and email campaigns, helping you find new customers and keep them coming back. Plus, Shopify's global selling tools have you covered internationally in over 150 countries, and their award-winning point of sale connects your online and offline sales all in the same place. With an impressive 99.99 uptime and the highest converting checkout experience on the planet, you'll never miss another sale. That's the Shopify advantage. Get all the big stuff for your small business right with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period and start selling today at shopify.com/morningwire. Head over to shopify.com/morningwire. Again, that's shopify.com/morningwire.